I tend to think of The Enemy of the World as a fairly strong serial overall, even though one can complain that certain six-parters ought to have been four-parters instead. This one tends to try to insert as much drama and tension into the proceedings as much as possible, and the padding, to my recollection, was effective. We'll see how I feel toward the end of this retrospective, however. All the same, it's rather entertaining. The dual performance thing is kind of odd and maybe intended as an act of novelty more than anything else, although I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it enjoyable to view. I feel like around this time, in the fifth season in particular, with the Second Doctor, the show reached kind of a peak. The most of the storylines of season 5 are six-parters. They felt as though they had a lot of monsters and designs they were proud of. They wanted to show them off across these grand, epic, and ambitious storylines. Lots of eye-catching effects. It's a good alternative futuristic production design all throughout this serial, which makes for, rather than it just being one base, we see several different locations as to how this kind of alternate future Earth timeline operates, this society. And I'm starting to imagine a TARDIS that is actually sending the Doctor to the times and places wherein his use will be beneficial to sorting some wrong. Otherwise, it's just such an odd coincidence that the Doctor happened to land in this Earth where his doppelganger happens to be Mr. Salamander. It makes one think that, the TARDIS is deciding where he goes because it knows that he will be useful there. In attempting this epic, ambitious six-parter, The Enemy of the World, it distills this megalomaniac, vile individual known as Salamander. The Doctor's attempts to understand Salamander's power force in order to imitate him and potentially bring about his downfall. It's a nice piece about the possibilities of these archetypal supervillain types, conquer the world, power hungry. It's not so much trying to understand what makes these people tick. It's a deliberately kind of farcical illustration of that role, and then we can witness how the Doctor tries to overcome such a foe. It's a nice demonstration of outwitting the wicked dictator of the world in a kind of globe-trotting sci-fi adventure fictional context. Well, it has to be fictional. Everything here is kind of animated. Patrick Troughton in a dual role, the Second Doctor up against Mr. Salamander. There's fun to be had here. You know what? I don't think this would have been better as a four-parter. I'm going to say five-parter.